Hey, what's going on? Luke here. Magic Round has been gone. It's time to get back to the normal rounds of football. Round 11 is here. Let's take a look at round 11 of the 2021 NRL season. I'm going to be doing my tips, going to be doing my previews. My first tip is going to be that there's going to be like 10 sin binnings, 3 send-offs, and actually let's go like 15 sin binnings. Now on a serious note, the first game of the round is North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Newcastle Knights. This one I feel like is going to be a pretty lackluster game. However, it's one of those games that has the potential to actually see either team win. Could be a close game, I'm hoping. Not too many close games in the NRL these days, but look, the Cowboys, I think their form is a lot better than the Knights going into this game. Haven't exactly been winning, but I think they've been playing a lot better. Valentine Holmes has been playing pretty decent. Jason Taumalolo's back for the Cowboys. He's had a pretty immediate effect. He's been pretty good for him. Look, the rest of the side is kind of a bunch of plotters, to be honest with you, but they're sort of like an average sort of side. It's maybe like a reserve grade standard side with some really top-notch players in there, sort of dragging them up a little bit. Now, the Knights, kind of similar in the sense that, look, their backline looks pretty bad. You take out Bradman Best, who's, ironically their best player, and their backline looks absolutely atrocious. Halves aren't good, but the forward pack is just so strong that it kind of keeps them in games. Maybe not even keep them in games as judging by results, but it sort of just gives the illusion that like they're actually going to compete with them, and probably stops them from getting blown out completely every week, because their forward pack is super strong, probably one of the best in the comp. It's a shame they got so many injuries to their backline that they can't really take advantage of that, because I think the forwards are a great platform for them, but obviously missing Ponga, missing all your other players, even guys like Edric Lee and stuff who aren't there, and then you add in halves who are like never playing. It's definitely not been a good season for the Knights in terms of injuries, but they just seem to be the Knights. Every year they just seem to have lots of key injuries. But for this one, in terms of picking a winner, I'm going to go with the Cowboys, because I just think they have too much form going into this game, and I know form hasn't really meant much this year, but I feel like having the home crowd behind them, I think they'll be enough to get the job done. And like I said, both these sides are pretty even in terms of just looking at the team, like at least the team list anyways, and trying to pick a winner, it could be either one. So I'm just going to go with the Cowboys because they're the home side. Now into the second game of the round, it's the New Zealand Warriors taking on the West Tigers. Warriors lost last week, the West Tigers won. It was a big win for the Tigers. I mean, right from the get-go, you could see that they were on. The problem is with the Tigers is that they're not on like all the time. They're on very rarely, in fact. Now, they have a lot of players who, when they're playing well, they play really well. You guys like Joey Leilua, even you guys like Luke Brooks and such, like when they're playing really good, they play 10 out of 10 games. But it's just, the problem is they do that once or twice a year. Maybe Leilua, he does a little bit more often, but guys like Luke Brooks, they definitely do it like once or twice a year, and they show that potential, but they just can't do it throughout the year, which is very frustrating for Tigers fans, even frustrating for me, and I don't give a shit about the Tigers. Now, the Warriors, they're in an interesting predicament where they're obviously not going to make the 8, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to make the 8. They've lost the last couple of weeks. Lost to the Eels pretty well last week. I don't think they're ever really in the contest. And look, it was one of the weaker games for the Eels in the sense that it wasn't that, Dylan Brown didn't play. It wasn't one of their better sides that they've put out this year. And they still got the job done quite easy. And I don't think it was ever really in doubt either. But the Warriors, they definitely have potential to win this game as well. This is where it's interesting, where Tigers and the Warriors, kind of similar to the first game I was talking about. I don't really know who's going to win this one, because the Tigers, if Tigers play to their ability, they can win this one, but same can be said about the Warriors. It's just a matter of who's actually going to turn up, and I feel like the Warriors are a lot more consistent. I feel like they're more likely to turn up. However, the Tigers, a big win last week. Maybe this is the confidence booster they need, but I think I've said this 3 or 4 times throughout the season, throughout the last couple of seasons even. You just constantly say that about the Tigers. They get a win, you go, wow, maybe this is the turning point for them, and it just never is. So it's hard to sit here and say they're going to win 2 weeks in a row, especially against the Warriors, who I think are due for a win. Lost the last couple of weeks, and I know that's like such a cliched saying, due for a win, but I think the Warriors, they're not that far off from a win, especially against a team like the Tigers. Losing to the Eels is one thing. Losing to the Tigers is another. Like total mismatches in sides. So look, losing to the Eels isn't such a big deal, and I think they have enough to get the job done against the Tigers. What I find interesting is the whole Reece Walsh situation, where they pretty much came out and said they're going to be playing him off the bench, and when he comes on, he's going to be playing fullback. They're going to move Roger Tuivasa-Sheck to the wing. I'd love to see if they're going to be doing this if the game's on the line. I'd love to see what happens there, because I feel like Nathan Brown, he's come out and said it, but if the game's real close, why would you take Roger Tuivasa-Sheck out of the fullback position? I understand chucking Reece Walsh on, maybe chuck him on a lock or something just to roam around, or put him on the wing. Do what Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and like a lot of the other good fullbacks have done in the comp. Start out on the wing and then progress to fullback. I don't know. I don't know about Nathan Brown. I still don't rate him, but I don't really rate this Tiger side either. So I'm going to go the Warriors. I'm going to go the Warriors 13+, because that's just what they all seem to be these days, 13+. Now moving on to the second game of Friday night. It's the Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks taking on the St. George Illawarra Dragons. A traditional rivalry. Look, this one hasn't really been a big rivalry for quite some times, but you go back in the day and this was a rivalry game. So I think there's going to be a lot of passion. both the Sharks and the Dragons aren't really travelling that well. Obviously, Dragons have shown a lot more form throughout the year, but the Sharks, we know they're capable. I mean, looking at their lineup, they have a better lineup than the Dragons. Looking at the lineup now, I mean, you got your Dugans, you got Will Chambers, Matty Moylan, Townsend's still there, Tolman, Woods. Got a lot of players who are pretty solid, but no one who's just like that gun player. But look, the Dragons, they're in a predicament themselves. Got 50,000 players suspended and injured. I mean, Fuamono got sent off last week. Josh Maguire's not going to play for quite some time. So they've gone out and they've actually signed players because they don't have enough players in their actual squad. But looking at it, like, they got Cody Ramsey at fullback. I think that'd be interesting. Don't think he's actually started the game at fullback as far as I'm aware. He might have just played fullback every now and again, but we'll see how he goes. Jack Bird's there. Billy Burns, a mid-season signing for them. I actually don't mind Billy Burns, but like Jordan Pereira's back in, like Norman Hunt, it's not too bad, and obviously he's the captain. But rest of the side, I'm looking at the lineups right now. Like Jackson Ford's a starter. Silly, I don't really know too much about him. The bench looks very, very weak. The only player I literally know is Daniel Alvaro, and let's be quite frank, I don't really rate him as well. Came from Parramatta. I mean, he's not terrible, but like, just in terms of being a good player, I just don't really rate him that much. But yeah, it's a very weak bench, and that's where I feel like the Sharks might get it over them. Just the 4-pack, way too strong for him. But who knows? They got such classy halves. They got one classy half in Ben Hunt, and they got Corey Norman, who can be classy at times. Just a matter of who actually turns up for him. Andre McCullough's been pretty good for them this season, but I think just looking at the lineups, I think everything says that the Sharks should win this one, but we've seen the Sharks been in the same predicament before. Should beat the Bulldogs, didn't happen. Should beat plenty of other teams. I mean, they had a good lead against the Roosters. Just ever since the John Morris situation has sort of gone down, they just haven't really clicked at all, and they haven't really gone on. They haven't gotten any better. They've gotten worse, to be honest with you. So it's hard for me to tip either of these sides. It's been a bit of a dud round so far, but I'm going to go the Sharks 1-12. Alrighty, you might have noticed I've had to switch the webcam. My camera ran out of battery. Recorded the next couple of games, and I've just realised my camera's completely gone. So we swapped to the webcam. However, the next game we're going to be talking about is the Gold Coast Titans hosting the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. Yes, my Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. I know they're terrible. I'm still wearing the hat. I'm still going to support them. However, I know that they're a long shot of winning this one. The Titans are a very, very good side. On their day, I think a lot of their game plan revolves around David Fafita. Obviously, he's not playing. The Bulldogs, though, they just haven't shown anything this year. And I feel like they showed one game where they get close, and the next game, they usually play like shit. So they got pretty close last week, so everything sort of says that they won't go very well this week. However, if there was any team that they could sort of take on, I have said this about quite a few teams, but I keep going, if there's any team the Bulldogs could beat, it would be the Raiders, it would be the Sharks, it would be the Knights. And then, like, they won one game. So, look, I think they can compete in this game. I think the Titans definitely won't like just come out off the blocks and just absolutely smash them. I think the Bulldogs will be in the contest for a long while, but biggest problem with the Bulldogs is they get to probably the last 20 minutes or so, and if they've got a lead, they generally, I feel like they shit themselves a little bit. They don't really know what to do. They're like, we're not supposed to be in this position. I don't know how we're in this position. How do we lose this one? And that's pretty much what happened last week. Now, obviously, a lot of the sin binnings and stuff, a lot of controversy in last week's game in terms of the sending off of sin binning and the fact that they still lost the game. I talked about it in my sort of review video, and I definitely wasn't happy, and I don't know if I want to look into it too much. Look, it is a game where, say, like Brendan Wakeham just comes straight back in, his first game back, but for the Bulldogs, Dylan Napa comes back in this game, and I think he's going to be a big inclusion. Can't believe I'm saying that about Dylan Napa, but they definitely just missed that aggression up front. And I will say the actual 4-pack have actually been playing half decent. Everybody except for Adam Elliott have really been putting their hands up for the Bulldogs, at least just having a go. For the Titans, though, we know they can absolutely smash teams. We know they're capable of it. And like I said, a lot of it comes down to David Fafita. And obviously, he's so influential on the game. He's such a good player. In my opinion, the best second rower in the game. The problem is when he's not playing, or if teams have a game plan that's completely shuts him down, they don't really show much else. And despite having so many good players in their side, you look at their lineup, there's international players, there's rep players. You got Big Tino, just played for Queensland. Kevin Proctor, been in the New Zealand side for a long time. Jared Boss, been around the Queensland system for a long time. Even in terms of the backs, like Brimson is very, very good. They definitely aren't lacking any star power, but they just haven't really been able to put it together this year. It's kind of, the season's kind of gone how I thought it would be. A lot of hype for the Titans at the start of the season. I didn't think they'd get a top 4 spot. I thought they'd sort of be that team that's sort of pushing for a top 8 spot and sort of maybe even missing out on the 8. And that's exactly where they sort of ended up. A team that has potential, but just lacking that little bit of cohesion. And that's expected. They've got a lot of new players in the side, but in terms of them beating the Bulldogs, I think they'll have no troubles with it. I would love to sit here and say I think the Bulldogs are going to win this one. And like I said, there is a possibility that they do beat the Titans. Titans have lost, like these sort of games for the Titans seem to be the ones where they play like shit. They should come out and they should beat the Bulldogs by 30, 40, and it probably will happen. Also, at the same time, though, I could see them losing this one. We saw the Cowboys beat them, have that big comeback. We saw at the start of the season the Warriors beat the Titans. The Titans just don't exactly fill me with confidence going into this game. And I feel like Titans fans probably agree. It's just a matter of the Bulldogs being so bad that you can't really tip the Bulldogs. But the Titans also haven't been that good this year either, despite all their signings and despite the actual lineup. But for me, I think this one's easy. I think it's going to be Titans 13+. Now into the second game of Super Saturday. It is the Sydney Roosters taking on the Brisbane Broncos. What can you say about the Broncos other than the fact that they are absolutely abysmal? If the Bulldogs were in the comp, Broncos are easily the worst team in the comp. Like, I think there's such a big gap between the actual worst teams like your Broncos and your Bulldogs and then the other teams who are just pretty bad. And the Broncos are definitely there. They just, like, I know they've won a couple of games and they beat the Titans a couple of weeks ago. That's one I forgot to mention for the Bulldogs in terms of beating the Titans. There is a possibility like the Broncos can come out and play a pretty decent game. They've got guys who have lots of individual brilliance. Even your Milfords, I feel so bad for Anthony Milford. A couple of years ago, I would have thought he would have been sort of going along, maybe not making Queensland and Australian sides, but I thought he'd at least be in the contest. I know there's like Cameron Munster, a lot of good 5'8" still going around back then, but just the fact that Anthony Milford, not only is he not in the contest for rep teams, he's not even in the contest for the Broncos side. They've already come out and said they're getting rid of him. They've even brought up bloody Albert Kelly, who the Titans got rid of years and years ago, went to the Super League. Apparently he actually did pretty well in the Super League. I'm actually friends with some people who are supporters of Hull, and he went over and played with Hull, and they were talking up Albert Kelly big time. So he was actually going alright for them, but he's been playing Queensland Cup, same side as Carmichael Hunt. And I honestly think everybody was like, oh yeah, Carmichael Hunt's going to be the one to get a go. But Albert Kelly, he's in the first grade side, so it's credit to Albert Kelly for getting back to the NRL, because I would have given him no chance of making the NRL. Seriously, I would have been like, no, he's never going to play ever again. And here he is, but it's kind of just the circumstances the Broncos are in rather than Albert Kelly being good or anything. Brody Croft's out injured. Milford, they don't want to play him. They want to sort of get rid of him. So Tyson Gamble's already in the side. It's either you play Albert Kelly or you play someone out of position. And I feel like at the moment they can't really afford to be playing players out of position. They've barely got players who can actually play their position. So yeah, in terms of the Broncos, I've already talked about them enough. They're not a good side, and they're coming up against a really good side in the Roosters. Roosters are a top 4 candidate, definitely a top 4 candidate. In fact, I'd say they're pretty much a lock-in at this point. They keep getting injuries, they keep winning. Doesn't matter who's playing, they just come in and they just knuckle down and they play well. Sam Walker, Lachlan Lamb in the halves doing a good job. James Tedesco at the back. We saw Tom Trbojevic absolutely tear up the Broncos last week. I think Tedesco is going to do exactly the same. I'm going to pick the Roosters 13+ here. I think this is an easy one. This is a huge mismatch. Chuck the Roosters in your multi, guys. Now moving on to the last game of Super Saturday. It is the Canberra Raiders taking on the Melbourne Storm. At the start of the season, I would have said this would have been an epic game. This would have been an amazing game. Both teams sort of hitting their stride. One team is hitting their stride. It's the Melbourne Storm. The Raiders, though, on the other hand, definitely not hitting their stride. In fact, they're probably hitting the wall, to be honest with you. The players have come out and they've talked about being tired. More so, Josh Papali, he's come out. There's also that Joseph Tapine thing where the girlfriend was posting stuff. There's definitely a lot of trouble at the Raiders, but hopefully a win last week for them sort of eased a little bit of it, but at the end of the day, they won by 2 points against the Bulldogs. Literally the only game in the whole Magic Round that was an absolute mismatch, and did take them going down to 11 men for them to actually kick into gear, which is funny. It seems like something that just doesn't make sense, but this is the Bulldogs we're talking about, and this is the Raiders we're talking about. So, look, the Bulldogs were shit. The Raiders were pretty good in that 11-man period, and they ended up actually getting the lead while they had a man down. And I can sit here and I can say, you know, great resilience, all this sort of stuff, but for me, they should have beat the Bulldogs by 30 to 40, realistically. The Bulldogs aren't good. The Raiders have a pretty decent side on paper, but this Storm side, the next level. If they can only beat the Bulldogs by 2 points, Melbourne Storm are literally going to put like 40 or 50 on them. Melbourne are just lethal. They are absolutely ruthless. And once again, every season goes on, I keep thinking, Melbourne Storm, this is going to be the year they drop off. And then all of a sudden, Harry Grant comes in, Brandon Smith comes in, all these other players, even bloody Nico Hines. He bloody played 5'8" last week and he was the best player on the field. I don't understand how Melbourne keep doing. Well, I can't understand it. That's the thing. I can't understand how Melbourne keep doing it, because they just, something with Craig Bellamy, something with the Storm system. They can just chuck in players who would be role players at other clubs and then just go into that Storm system and they absolutely kill it. And they continue to do so. And I think the Raiders are going to be in for a long, long day. I think this one's going to be a hell of a mismatch. I think the Storm are going to come out firing. And I mean, the Raiders definitely have potential. They're one of those sides that if they sort of get in the right headspace and they get passionate, I feel like they could really trouble the Storm. I just don't see it happening though. I think there's just too much disharmony at the Raiders, and the fact that they only beat the Bulldogs by 2 points, I think it says it all about both these sides. The Storm, I think they're going to absolutely give the Raiders a hiding here. I think 30-40. This is another one I'd put in your multi, guys. I think the Storm are going to win this one 13+. Now we're on to Sunday afternoon football. It's the South Sydney Rabbitohs taking on the Penrith Panthers. This is easily match of the round. Now, I know the Rabbitohs aren't exactly full strength, but they're sort of the closest they've been to full strength in quite some time. For the last few weeks, we've seen a bit of a shuffled side. We've seen Cody Walker at fullback. We've seen Benji Marshall in the starting position. Now Benji Marshall is back to the bench. Cody Walker returns to the halves. We have Latrell Mitchell back, and we know Latrell Mitchell can, when he's at his best, he is literally unstoppable. He's like one of those players that you can just pass the ball to him and say, do something, and he probably will do something. Just one of those players. Whether he's capable of doing it against Penrith, I don't know, but I think this is going to be a big test for the Rabbitohs. They got 50 put on them a couple of weeks ago, and everybody put the line through them, including myself, and I still think that is the case. I don't think the Rabbitohs can really win the comp after that one, but after all, it was like a third, fourth string side compared to the one that they're putting out this week, and this isn't even the full strength side, and yeah, it's still so much better than the side they've put out the last couple of weeks. Now, Penrith, they just keep going strength to strength. They are just such a good side, Penrith. I can't really say too much about them apart from they're the best team in the comp. They deserve to be where they are. Easily the best team. There's just nothing you can really say. They don't have any weaknesses really. The defense is good. The attack's good. Just consistencies are there. They've got guys who can step up. Like if Nathan Cleary isn't playing that good, Jerome Lai can go in there. If someone's injured, they can just replace one guy. You know, if Dylan Edwards goes down, they've got like 50,000 people who can go play fullback. They've got guys who can cover the halves. They've got guys who can cover hooker, four pack. Just Penrith are literally the ultimate team. They're the team that you, like, if you were like, I could pick any team, I wish my team was like. Penrith is it. They're just unreal. But this Rabbitohs side going into the season, that was sort of talked about similarly to, that was sort of talked about in the same vein to Penrith, but hasn't really played out like that this season. Rabbitohs, for me, they definitely have potential to play in the grand final. This could easily be the grand final for 2021, in my opinion. I think it all comes down to whether like Cody Walker moves back to the halves, Latrell Mitchell, whether they all hit it off again, because they're playing so well, but obviously Latrell got suspended for quite a while. So whether he just slots straight back in and just hits the ground running, I don't know. I think I was questioning this at the start of the season too, and Latrell absolutely killed it. So we'll see how they go, but this is definitely going to be a big test, not only for Penrith, but for the Rabbitohs. I think this is probably the hardest challenge for Penrith in quite some time. I thought they've been having a couple easy games, probably since the Storm game where they won on the bell. I think that's probably the hardest game since then. So we'll see what the Rabbitohs are made of. I think it's definitely going to be a good contest. There's so many matchups you can talk about, but in terms of picking a winner, I'm going to go Penrith. I think just the fact that even though Latrell and that are back and they're sort of, you know, back to their normal spine and such, just the fact that this is their first week back, I think they're not going to gel as well. And I could see that the Panthers getting out to a quick start and the Rabbitohs going, oh, here we go again. And I could see it end up being a blowout. So I think I'm actually going to go Penrith 13+, as weird as it sounds. It seems like something that should be a close game, but yeah, I'm just going to go Penrith 13+. And now we move on to the last game of the round. This one also could be match of the round. It's the Parramatta Eels taking on the Manly-Warringah Seagulls. Another one at the start of the season, I would have said, nah, this game will be a bit shit. Parramatta obviously going to beat Manly, but I don't know if this is necessarily the case. Looking at these sides, looking at the form, I think Manly probably are the favourites going into this game. I think the Eels are higher in the ladder. Obviously, they've been playing outstanding this year. They've been winning big time this year, and they haven't really got too many injuries. I'll just check if Dylan Brown's actually back in. Jacob Arthur is still there, so I think that's definitely sort of some points taken off the Eels. Not because Jacob Arthur's so like bad or anything. Like he played pretty decent last week, scored a try, but just the fact that he's just not Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown has been there. He's got experience now in the NRL, and coming up against Manly, you can sort of say the same for Manly because Kay Cuss is playing in the halves, but Kieran Foran, this isn't the Kieran Foran of 2011 or whatever. So I think you can replace Kieran Foran and still have a half-decent side. He's not carrying them by any means. The guy who is carrying them is Tom Trbojevic. I think he's literally been the best player since he's come back into this side. And I think if he stays in this side, I think he will win the Dally M, to be honest with you. He's been that dominant. I haven't really seen a player be this dominant and have a team rely on one player as much as what Manly do with Tom Trbojevic. But it's like he doesn't even seem to mind it either. A lot of those players in this position, we've seen, say, like Jared Hayne with Parramatta and stuff, where like it just feels like it kind of gets to him to a point. Whereas Tom Trbojevic, it's like he thrives in it. It's like he's like, yeah, give me the ball, I'm just going to go score. That's pretty much what he does too. He just grabs the ball, he runs through, breaks the tackle, offloads, or he just runs straight through. He's literally so good. And I feel like this Manly side, if you take out Tom Trbojevic, I'm not going to say they're a wooden spoon side. Actually, well, they showed they kind of are like a wooden spoon side. They were really, really struggling. Then Tom Trbojevic comes in and bam, they hit the ground running. And now I'm picking them to beat the Eels. I think that says a lot. And the Eels are a very, very good side. I think they're a top 4 side, but I also think Manly are a top 4 side as long as this is relatively the same side they're going to be putting out for the rest of the season. Eels have been very, very good, but also haven't really done enough for me to show me that they're premiership sort of worthy. I know I did a video earlier this year that said, yes, they're the real deal, and that was after they smashed Melbourne, after Melbourne had just smashed Rabbitohs at the start of the season. But for me, the Eels, they still haven't really showed enough for me, and I think Manly have. I really, really rate this Manly side, and I think Manly get the job done. I don't know if I'm going to go as far to say 13+. I think this will be one of the few games that actually will be quite close. But I'm going to go Manly 1-12. Anyways, those are my tips for round 11 of the 2021 NRL season. Leave in the comment section below, what are your thoughts of the round? Do you think there's going to be a lot of controversy in terms of the refereeing and the sin binnings and stuff? Do you think we're going to have a repeat of last week? I hope not, but it's definitely a possibility. Let me know if there's also any sort of games that I didn't really cover too much, or I missed something major, or just my tips were just completely shit. So let me know in the comment section below. Also, give me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke and YT for the most part. My Facebook is just Mr. Luke, but everything else is Mr. Luke and YT. So go ahead and give me a follow on that. Also, if you happen to enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, do all that sort of stuff. Click the notification bell. It's pretty important in terms of you actually seeing the video, because we know the sub boxes, they're pretty dodgy. So go ahead, use the notification bell. But yeah, just leave a like, do all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's all I've got to say for this video. Stay tuned for more content on the channel. Plenty of stuff to talk about. I could talk about the referees. I've got some Magic Round videos still coming up where I'm going to try and complete the Magic Round challenge, try and win all the rest of the games that I haven't played. So like I said, stay tuned for more content on the channel, and I'll see you next time. See yous.